everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you very much for joining us today. We are excited to bring to you the 29th webinar of Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific, focusing on the topic of driving energy efficiency in medium, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs. Before we start the webinar, we will be happy to get to know you better. So please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, sharing your name, your country, and the organization. Um, I would also like to inform you all that this webinar is being recorded. And if you have any concern, please feel free to reach out to us. While you're introducing yourself, I would share with you quick housekeeping rules for today's webinar. First of all, as I shared, this webinar is being recorded and we hope it's fine with all of you. If there's a concern, let us know through email or through a direct chat message to me. I would request you all to keep your microphones muted when you're not speaking, but you can switch on your cameras for better engagement. Feel free to use the chat box option for posting your questions, feedbacks, and comments directly in the chat. We have a dedicated Q&A and discussion session at the end of the webinar, but the speakers may respond to some of your questions directly in the chat as well. At the end of the webinar, I'll be sharing with you a form for feedback. We'll be happy to get your feedback, comments, and suggestions. We'll be sharing recording of the webinar along with the slides and summary of the discussion notes through email, also upload them on our website, and the recording will be posted on our YouTube channel. I'll be sharing with you all the social media handles, so feel free to follow them, but you will also get an email. Today's webinar agenda looks like this. We will start with welcome remarks and discussion on the context of the webinar from Edward Wine, who is the member of the steering committee of Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific. Then we will have presentations from our speakers for today's webinar, Abhishek, Dhupar, and Sanjay Dube, who are joining us from International Energy Conservation. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name of the organization. We will have around 10-15 minutes of moderated discussion, and we will close the webinar in an hour. Without further ado, let me invite Dr. Edward Wine to share background of Energy Evaluation Asia Pacific and also give background of the webinar. Ed, over to you.
Hi there. Let's see. You see my slides okay?
Yes, we can see them.
Great. Well, it's great to have everyone participating in today's webinar. I just want to give some very briefly introductory remarks about energy evaluation Asia Pacific. And it's a community of practice specializing in energy evaluation across the Asia Pacific region. It was established in 2018. It's modeled after the one in the US, IEPEC, International Energy Program Evaluation Conference. That started in 1983, held every other year. And also, it's based on the one we've had in Europe since 2010, the International Energy Program and Policy Evaluation Conference. We try to take a leadership role in expanding the practice of and capacity for what we call objective evaluation in the energy efficiency and renewable energy program and policy arena. We do this by developing expertise to answer these questions: which actions pay off, how energy programs and policies can be improved, and what actions can be scaled up. And we do this through workshops, conferences, webinars, and other web-based tools. Our focus and impact is multiple avenues. One is a collaborative approach. So we work with diverse stakeholders, including government, NGOs, research institutions, industry partners. We focus on data and the importance of good data and analysis for robust evaluation to inform these decisions. And then capacity building, like what we're doing now, and I've mentioned, we do this through training, workshops, knowledge sharing platforms. And then finally, we want people to prioritize post-implementation monitoring and evaluation of their energy policies to ensure they're effective. We have a structure, an organizational structure. We have a steering committee, which we've just added 9 members to, an advisory committee. I think there are now more than 27. And then we have a coordinator, and Nazir, who is our coordinator. And so, the question I'm sure many of you have dealt with when you talk to your peers is why evaluation? Why are you interested in this? And recently there was a quote at the end of last year from somebody I know, Juha Uto, who was the director of the Independent Evaluation Office of the Global Environment Facility. And I like his quote, and I've been using it for several months now. At a moment when societies face unprecedented technological and environmental risk, the role of science has never been more critical. From climate change to artificial intelligence, evidence-based decision-making is indispensable. Yet public trust in science is eroding and political support for scientific institutions is weakening. This paradox threatens not only effective policymaking, but the long-term capacity of societies to anticipate, adapt, and innovate. So what is EEAP doing with energy evaluations? We're focusing on 3 efforts: policy adoption and implementation, behavioral change, and then the economic and environmental benefits. We often talk about energy savings or energy production, but there are multiple benefits from what we're doing. And we want to highlight and enhance that so people recognize there are these different benefits like job creation, enhanced air quality, climate change mitigation, uh, to demonstrate the advantages of investing in both renewable energy and energy efficiency. We also have a number of mechanisms we use for communicating what we're doing and getting people more involved. Many of you, if not all, have seen some of this. Our LinkedIn group is one of our main opportunities, but we also have a website. And then this webinar, as all the other webinars, you can watch on YouTube. So we know there are a number of people who, for multiple reasons, are not able to join today's webinar live, but they go to the YouTube channel and they can hear what has been presented in the past. I do want to highlight an important conference that we're having. It's our first virtual conference. We're going to have it October 1st, 2026, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Bangkok time. Call for abstracts has been out for a while. We had an original deadline of July 15th, I think. We've moved it to August 15th. I think that's going to be it. The key themes, which are, you can find out more if you haven't already received it. It's on our website, and you can see about the conference and what each of these themes are. But you can submit an abstract to Asia Pacific at energy-evaluation.org. So I encourage all of you who haven't submitted abstracts to do that, and we'll try to get as many as we can into the conference. So it's a very exciting opportunity, and I look forward to participating in that. So today's webinar, as Nazir mentioned, is focusing on the financial de-risking of energy efficiency markets to ensure improved performance of technologies. We have 2 speakers from the same organization, the International Institute for Energy Conservation, IIEC, which has been around a long time. They have a number of different offices around the world now. First based in Washington, D.C., and then expanded to a number of offices in other countries. And we'll hear from Abhishek Dhupar and Sanjay Dube. I neglected to ask how it's pronounced, but Sanjay can correct me. We'll start, as I said, with Abhishek. You're a senior energy efficiency specialist with over 15 years of experience working with government organizations, the private sector, and the development sector, particularly in industrial energy efficiency, cooling and heating, and clean energy technologies. You've been working with various government and international organizations, which I don't need to mention. And you've worked on energy efficiency programs, particularly in India, such as the National Motor Replacement Program, super efficient air conditioners, and other projects. Recently, you're looking at sectoral analysis and technology mapping for innovative energy efficient technologies in Indian industries. So I'll stop here and people can, if you've got the announcement, there's more here, but I'm going to let you take it over. And you have about 15 minutes, and then we'll have questions after that as well as at the end. So you can start.
Sure. Thank you, Edward. A very warm good morning to all of you. I mean, in India, it's 8:30 a.m., so good morning from our side. And thank you so much to EEAP and Edward and Nazir for inviting us over to deliver this important topic, which I think primarily is significant in terms of be it any geography. The idea is that how energy efficiency can help lower the energy consumption and then maybe top it up with the renewable to move towards net zero. So, with this, I think I'll start my presentation with the limited time I have. Yeah, quickly, a very little about IIC, which I can share here. So, IIC is a not non-partisan, not-for-profit organization based out of US, and currently we are actively working in India, the Philippines, and Thailand. Uh, IIC generally works with the various government agencies, multilaterals, bilaterals, private sector around these geographies, where our role is to basically advance the cause and programs related to energy efficiency, clean energy, energy access, e-mobility, and energy efficiency financing. So, with this, we partner with many global organizations also working in these geographies and try to promote the cause of energy efficiency. Now, as the uh, as the advice came from EAP that we need to discuss regarding the program evaluation. Uh, there is one such program which IIC has been managing since last 2.5 years now, and this is the JEF 6 Global Environment Facility 6 cycle program. And this program initially started in 2018. This was started in India with Energy Efficiency Services Limited, which is a state-owned enterprise under the Ministry of Power. Now, this entire project was incubated with ADB and UNEP as the implementing agencies. The entire the entire ERF component was close to $18.5 million, out of which there's a small soft component by UNEP, and majority of the portion of close to $14 million was by ADB. So this project started with ESL as the executing agency in India to basically uh, scale up the existing technologies which are crucial for India to reach at a level where the developed countries are in terms of those energy efficient technologies. Apart from this, the other components which came in through support from UNEP related to conducting these studies which are crucial for venturing into new business areas was also there. Then IIC came into this project around January 2024. Yeah. Yeah, so I was just mentioning about the structure of the JEF6 project. So the entire objective of this project when it started in 2018 was to ideally create and sustain markets for energy efficiency in India, and with ADB and UNEP as the implementing agencies, while Energy Efficiency Services Limited, which was a state-owned enterprise under the Ministry of Power, was the implementing agency. Then IIC also joined in this project with support from UNEP, and since 2024 we have been managing this program along with the ESL. The three key components of this project are to basically expand the existing market sectors or the existing technologies, which was there till 2023. Uh, and the idea here was that the technologies such as LED lights, super efficient fans, super efficient air conditioners, if these can be scaled up uh, e, by ESL, or that market transformation can come, then there will be a huge support in terms of uh, achieving the energy savings, desired energy savings, and reducing the GHG emissions. The component two is basically to build the market diversification, that how we can look into new technologies, untapped or less penetrated technologies, both in the building sector as well as in the industrial sector. And then the component three was to support ESL, that as a super ESCO in India, how they can replicate these technologies or scale up these technologies I mean, in various end use sectors. So with this, I would quickly move on to the key technologies which were covered under this project. So in the appliances category, you can see LED lighting was the major focus, with India leading this at a global level. You can find case studies about the India's Ujala program, which was the domestic LED lighting program, and then the street lighting national program, which is also a flagship program by ESL. ESL also have worked on the energy efficient ceiling fans, which are, let's say, the five-star rated fans according to Apex Bureau working on energy efficiency in India, and then the air conditioners, which are one notch above the market ISER values. We also have worked on the industrial energy efficiency technologies. Currently, the technologies on which ESL IC are currently focusing are your premium efficiency motors and super premium efficiency motors, which are I3, I4, heat pumps for industries, then waste heat recovery solutions, industrial automation, and also the utilities area where you have the compressors, blowers, and pumps. So, if you look at the entire landscape, these are the crucial technologies which uh, take up the entire energy consumption in an industry. Coming to the business approach, ideally, ESL as Super ESCO has tried various approaches for various technologies and also various customer segments. So when I talk about customer segments, ESL deals both in the public and private sector. In the public sector, they have been working with discoms. They have been working with municipal corporations, or you can say the urban local bodies. They have also been working with the industries, both small, medium, and also the large customers, large industries. And then also with the retail customers, specifically for the appliances such as lights, fans, and air conditioners. So, particularly if you look at the approach, there have been four key business models which under the JEF project we have tried. One is the business as usual model, which is your upfront payment model. Here, the entire model works in a way that a technology or an equipment or a product is being sold by ESL to the end user, and they pay to the ESCO in the in entirely in one go as an upfront payment for it, and then the entire energy savings framework, the entire MRV or the confidence in the technology is already established. Hence, it is more successful in appliances where there is a guaranteed savings. So when you talk about these plug and play devices such as lights, fans, ACs, there's a fixed load. You are not changing it every now and then. Hence, it is easier for a user to calculate the savings. The second is your on-bill financing or a utility-based DSM model where with discoms you work on the various appliances, various products where discom becomes the aggregator. They bring in the consumers and they also provide, you can say, on-bill discounting. So, for example, if you have a fan of 2000, let's say INR 2000, then in that case, the discom will the client will repay to the discom every month in some form of equated monthly installment. So this was also very successful when ESL started for the LED bulbs, and this is where it picked up with the masses in India. It was very convenient for people, and they had that trust with the utility, so there was no doubt related to quality and all that. Then comes the next model, particularly for, let's say, the buildings or for the industries where ESL works on a shared savings model. Here, the entire investment is done by EESL, and then the repayment is done through the monetized savings. So, this again varies either on the deemed savings approach or a guaranteed savings approach. Mostly, it has been the deemed savings approach for certain equipments where ESL has developed large programs. And uh, then the last approach where now the project is also working closely with Bureau of Energy Efficiency and ESL. Here, the idea is that if we have to reach to the MSMEs, then MSMEs, the challenge for MSMEs is the high upfront cost. So through a financing based mechanism where the cost of financing is low for MSMEs, then it could trigger the adoption of energy efficient technologies at their premises. So here the model is that the government through Bureau of Energy Efficiency is providing a interest subvention of close to 5%. And through this interest subvention and then some technical assistance for the energy audits, feasibility studies, and M&V, the idea is that MSME should procure these technologies and start implementing in their premises. I'll quickly explain the business model for the, uh, let's say, I'll take an example of energy efficient motors. So, one model, as I mentioned earlier, was the PMC model where the entire upfront investment is done by client. So, this is generally very well accepted by the large customers or the designated consumers in India, where the entire role of the ESCO is such a manner that the ESCO will do a initial inventory collection from the industry. Once they have the inventory of which kind of motors the customer is looking for to replace, based on that, a procurement is done by ESL. Generally, ESL, which is the Super ESCO, believes in the bulk procurement model. So they have the frequent or the most popular ratings of motors with them for particular sectors, and then they do a large scale bulk procurement through which they try to bring down the price or the cost of, let's say, an i3 motor to a level of i2 motor. So this is where their USP is, and this is where they try to sell it to the consumer that if you get a motor, an i3 motor closer to an i2 motor price, then why not go for i3? So with this, they also provide some additional features like an extended warranty, some kind of M&V if required by certain customers, or some kind of a sample audit if required by certain customers, and then they build uh, in their PMC fees, which is a nominal 5 to 8% of the project value, and this is how this model operates. While the other model, which is also popular mostly among the medium enterprises, or let's say the small and medium enterprises, is the ESCO model, where the entire investment is done by ESL on behalf of the industry, and then the industry repays to ESL in a staggered manner in a period of 3 years, let's say, paying every quarter to ESL, and the entire cost of finance is also inbuilt in this model. So the proposal, when it reaches to the consumer, has everything: the cost of equipment, the ESL fees, and the financing cost. So with this, the entire burden of paying upfront by a small or a medium enterprise is taken care by the ESCO, which is ESL.
Abhishek, you just have a few minutes left. So,
Okay, sure. So, so this is a glimpse of the deemed savings model on which ESL has been operating for a while now. This is where the shared savings approach is done by ESL for consumer to understand that they are paying from the savings and there is no extra burden on them for paying to ESL in a staggered manner. So maybe I can share the slides. People can go through it later. One another interesting project which IIC has carried out recently under the JEF project is the technical assistance to the MSME units for adopting uh, new, or let's say the less penetrated technologies. And this was done basically in primarily two sectors, which is the secondary steel and the textile clusters. And I, over 100 plus EOIs were collected from the interested industrial units, and eventually the implementations at 32 units have already happened in various clusters, four clusters of India. And if I may share the technologies which were installed under this project are these technologies which are not very popular amongst MSMEs. So if you look at, you have the heat exchangers, you have the waste heat recovery options for boilers. Uh, you also have the industrial automation technologies generally, which are very uncommon among these industries because they are not aware about the technology use. And then also in the utility section, the traditional motors, which are now the I4 motors, and the screw compressors, which are again with permanent magnet motors. So this is the breakup of how the implementation took place, and this is the kind of impact which we have received under the project through this assignment, that where under these three categories, the you can see the huge monetary savings coming out of 7 million USD, and then investments are only close to 2.8 million USD. So hence the payback is also very lucrative for the units. And coming on to now the last section of the presentation, which is the program evaluation, which I wanted to cover, that how a program like a JEF program should be evaluated, what are the informations which are required, what are the benefits or what are the challenges for these kind of programs. So I'll just quickly go through it. The first is on the policy side, where the evaluation looks at whether the project has created any policy which can do the market transformation within India, whether any kind of standard was developed for a particular technology which was not there in India. So we are currently working on the heat pump standards in India. Through this project, we have already developed a design tool and guidelines which will eventually be taken up by Bureau of Indian Standards to develop the standard. And then already when the project started, I2 was MEPS. We are now pitching for making I3 motors on MEPS. So this is how the program is working on the policy side. On the market transformation side, the three main requirements are that what transformation has happened on the supply side, what has happened on the demand side, and whether the access to finance has been eased by the project or not. So on this, again, I have already mentioned that we have worked a lot on the supply and demand side with those kind of national programs, the supply of LED bulbs and the cost of LED bulbs, which was, let's say, INR 300 at one point in time, came down to INR 70 in just 3-4 years. So this is the kind of transformation, and there was a plethora of suppliers coming up. And then on the financing side, we are working with Government of India Bureau of Energy Efficiency to help MSMEs. Also, the ESCO model with ESL to help MSMEs. And one more thing which Sanjay ji will cover in his slides. Lastly, which is fairly simple, that for with this project, every stakeholder would like to see what kind of the impact on the environment in terms of energy savings, in terms of resource savings for the India as well as for the consumers are there, and then the overall emission reduction in terms of GHG emission has come down through support of this project. Coming
I
quickly
think
to
we need
this is,
to,
I think, the second last slide on the
okay,
challenges.
we need to finish up.
Yes, yes, I think so. This is my second last slide. So we are looking at how the high upfront cost has been tackled through the project. What kind of awareness and confidence can be built at the MSME level? So we have done a number of feasibility studies both at the industry level as well as at the building side. On the building side, we are working on cooling as a service and eventually on the district cooling also. And then at the performance guarantee level, we have also looked at energy savings insurance, which is a de-risking instrument for MSMEs, which will be taken up by Sanjay ji next. And lastly, the assured savings, where there is a very big question mark in terms of evaluation of the technology implemented. The project is also supporting in carrying out the MRV studies. Uh, Lastly, when we talk about the benefits coming out of the programs, a program like a JEF program, here what has happened that with installation of so many energy efficient technologies, there has been a reduction in the energy consumption, which has been vetted by third parties and has been published in the reports of UNEP and ADB. uh, There have been improved performance and productivity through use of I3, I4 motors and VFDs. There has been also better resource utilization, lower operating costs with now new technologies such as a heat pump or a waste heat recovery or a screw compressor. So these are again looking at that. And obviously the indirect benefits is when you are using an energy efficient technology, you are looking at the system reliability enhancement, you are looking at the improved livelihood of the MSME. You are also, I mean, we are also including the gender mainstreaming in all our projects, all our studies, and eventually the reduction of the negative environmental impact and moving towards net zero. So all these benefits, all these outcomes are coming out of this project.
Great.
Sorry, so I had to just thank you so
Thank
much
you.
from this is from my side.
Right. And the slides will be made available later for those since we did have to go through this
Sure.
quick. So I appreciate it. Okay. Sanjay, why don't you share your slides? And let's see if I can. Here we go. While he does that, I'll introduce him. He's an internationally recognized clean energy, clean transport, environment expert, president and CEO of the International Institute for Energy Conservation. He has 38 years of experience in leading programs funded by international agencies, many of which you heard in the previous talk here. Um, he has contributed to the design of standards and labeling program for appliances, preparation of energy conservation building code, and a number of other activities. So I think make sure we have enough time for him as well as hopefully time for questions. I'll hand it over to Sanjay.
Thanks, Ed. Uh, I'll try to be within the time, and I hope everybody can hear me well. Uh, so, the there a lot of that Abhishek has discussed about sustainable energy efficient technologies for MSMEs and industries, and then there are programs around that. We have been implementing these energy efficiency projects since many years, but the issue is still there is a big risk that stands in terms of financing them. So market is growing, getting transformed. There are interests from various agencies, both public and private sector moving forward, but it's still the way energy efficiency should be adopted by countries, especially the developing world, is a little bit slower than what has been expected. Uh, and this particular slide basically lists some sort of a what are the risks that those are standing in front of in between the the program implementation and financing and others. They are known to you, many of them. Nothing new in that, but it's worth just going through that to understand where we are basically trying to make a difference by shifting towards new instruments so that these risks can be minimized or avoided. I mean, it's still the financing institutions see not that scale in terms of financing energy efficiency. And then they believe that high initial capital investment is required. The transaction cost payback period supposed to be long, which is actually not in many of the technologies. And yes, the lack of data, yes, that is something where most developing countries default, so that this basically give less confidence to the lenders and financing institutions in terms of that. Uh, they are actually coupled with other complex issues like lack of technical knowledge. Not to ESCOs and program developers or these experts, but especially the financing institutions and other market players. This market of energy efficiency, uh, my personal observation for many years that we have excellent energy efficiency experts around the world, and we have excellent financing experts around the world. But unfortunately, finance people have to really understand energy efficiency well, and energy efficiency experts have to, learn financing also, so that things can be improvised and the marriage can happen and both works hand in hand. Then policy frameworks, they are evolving, and many countries that there are acts and laws and regulation already there, but it's still a long way to go in terms of actually implementing them effectively. And then performance of technology is always a question. That is where most ESCOs face trouble and most clients are uncertain, and especially the financing institutions feel difficult to get into that. And then split incentives. So these are the things where uh, okay, things stop moving ahead with that pace which is required for energy efficiency. So then what is that? It's a high time to look into other instruments which could be de-risk this financing market for energy efficiency. And it's not that the financing is the only barrier. Since I'm focusing on de-risking instrument, that is why I'm talking about financing. But there are many other barriers that could be discussed. Some of that were covered by Abhishek in his slides, that was program specific. So, all of us have heard about this partial risk guarantee or credit guarantees or, performance contracting models. With the new market now, green bonds and loans are coming with which have a very targeted financing, and then contingent grant to funds provided only for specific predefined risk. And then a lot of technical assistance coming up with various international organizations. But the partial risk guarantee or credit guarantees are the most commonly used instruments in developing countries, mostly funded by multilateral banks and financing institutions, where they provide this partial risk guarantee or credit guarantee. And with that, banks feel very comfortable in financing energy efficiency programs, because there is a guarantee behind, and if there is any risk, the guarantee money can cover that risk. Although uh, it has been observed that very few risks emerge, because most banks do not accept proposals until unless they are bankable and they are less risky. So in any case, they play very, very safe because they are not doing charity. But it's still, the partial risk guarantee and credit guarantee are the very commonly used instruments. Now what happened? This instrument has a life, like a project is a 5 year or 10 year or maybe 12 years project. After that, this project is over. It has been observed, including India and Philippines and many other countries, that then financing energy efficiency start shrinking back again to the square one, because there is no guarantee. So then entire world was thinking, what to do, because mostly it has been observed that financing restrict to public sector programs and then international agency supports. How we can basically look into new ideas or new things, how we de-risk the market. So recently, last couple of years, let's say 4 or 5 years, there are two de-risking models that are emerging in the international market, starting from Latin America, now heading to Europe, US, and now getting into the Asia, and India and Philippines and Indonesia also working on that. The one is, of course, the performance guarantee. So the from the credit or risk guarantee, we move to performance guarantee, which is basically to there's a solid guarantee provided about the performance of the project, so that you can ensure the savings, and it basically support an insurance model to get into the market and add a new instrument which can be more helpful for in de-risking the financing, and then the pure insurance, that is a pure market-based private sector managed program, which is getting popular in Europe and Americas and now getting into Asia, where energy efficiency insurance is being tried to, do this business in energy efficiency sector. And this, I really love this model because this is certainly going to be a successful phenomena in future. So if you talk about performance guarantee, there is a model which is being tried called energy saving insurance. We also have developed a roadmap in India, which has been launched uh, in the beginning of this month very successfully. And this is basically at the core of the energy saving insurance, with and where the energy savings are guaranteed, because this test the technology is everything, and ESCOs comes in picture with MSMEs or building owners, and this includes a good document which is a standardized contract, very well vetted by legal and financial and all those experts. And then a third party insurance provider comes in picture and provided a sort of a surety insurance, which is energy saving insurance, and it is supported by a validation process like any other normal insurance. If you go for a claim, there is a validation. So this also, but this validation also includes annual validation of savings, so that project should not face the risk. And then there is a competitive financing structure. This could be supported by a credit guarantee or any guarantee or a local project or program being implemented in any country where banks have partnership to develop for financing. Then the second very popular instrument, which is gaining more popularity day by day, is uh, promoted by the Munich Re Group in Europe, and it has entered US, it has entered Europe, it is entering Asia. In India also, it is being designed. There is a arm of Munich Re which is called HSV. HSV has introduced this product, which is for 5 years, and ESCOs play a major role in that. They register as a special purpose vehicle to implement a program, certainly get a loan from the bank, and then buy an insurance for energy savings. And if there is any shortfall, the money is recovered through the insurance. So the bank get more confidence and it acts like a collateral. It is replacing the collateral. And this looks into three major aspects. One is if there is any change in policy in the country which affect the savings, insurance comes in picture. Any natural calamity that can risk the project, insurance comes in picture. And third is any shortfall in savings due to technology failure or something, the insurance comes in picture. So this is quite interesting, and hopefully separately we can discuss more if you want to, but today is a limited time, so we can restrict it here. This structure is courtesy to Bureau of Energy Efficiency in India and OECD, uh, with whom I'm working very closely. IIC is working. This is a particular diagram representing the structure of energy saving insurance that is being proposed for India, and we are now in the phase of designing pilots for implementation of this. Simply, a financing institution comes, they fund through ESCO to a MSME cluster, industry cluster, and then there's a program that can support, or credit guarantee can support to the bank if there is a need. Otherwise, no need. That is why this is being shown separately. And there's a validation process where insurance comes. If there is any shortfall in savings, this insurance takes care of that, and so that MSMEs don't face any trouble, and banks also should not be feeling any stress in terms of money that they finance. Uh, so the benefits of de-risking the market is, the insurance can provide coverage for stipulated savings in exchange for a premium, which this premium is very nominal, 2 to 3% at the moment. So it doesn't add to the cost. And then it's a lower cost compared to traditional saving guarantees. And then, of course, you have to be very specific in terms of measurement and verification. It also helps improving the credit worthiness of escrows. So the ESCO market grows. We hopeful to see this growing in India soon, and then reduce financial risk for MSMEs, ESCOs, and lenders and banks. And also the utility of the requirement of collateral can be replaced. And then enhance competition by enabling small firms to bid on projects. And then lower cost of financing due to transfer of performance risk of project balance sheet. Uh, there's a lot to discuss on this, and I have tons of information that could be shared, but you can discuss it with me separately sometimes. Uh, in terms of, if we look into the evaluation of these programs, uh, the kind of parameter that we need is, of course, the existing policy and regulatory provisions, which are very important. Like in 2017, I tried to implement insurance, energy efficiency insurance in India. That time, the insurance regulators refused because they were not allowing any new product to be introduced in India. So regulators' permission was important. But now the things have changed. Now they are open for new products. So energy efficiency or energy saving insurance can do the headway into the market. Then implementation capabilities of ESCOs, because there's lot depends on them. That's very important. So it's an important parameter to evaluate. Then capacity of MSMEs and partner ESCOs in developing bankable proposals. This is of course a part of the capacity building thing, and availability of data about the technologies, so that the validation can take place properly. And the trained energy auditors and energy managers play this role after a certain amount of training. And then banks and insurance service providers, their readiness and their understanding with each other. This also a very important parameter. And then the size of market, you have to pick one. So we right now the major focus is on MSME sector, and then it'll lead to the building sector. And then, of course, the parameters, which is very important, that need identification about capacity building at different levels of different stakeholders. So this is we are working on that. Uh, uh, in terms of program evaluation, the regulatory and the challenges, the regulatory and policy environment, which is still emerging. ESCO's capacity, of course, is a question, and access to finance for energy efficiency, as per my first slide, is still a question. Long way to go. Money is available, everything is available, but access is some barriers are there. Then replacing the need for collateral and validation of existing energy savings is still outside the comfort zone of local insurance. So insurers, they are they still have to learn, validating energy efficiency savings, kind of energy savings. And stakeholders in emerging economies need targeted capacity building. So these are the challenges that we have to face. There could be many more which may have missed out by us, but we may face them while we implement the pilots. So this is how we plan to go further. And this, the main focus is to de-risk energy efficiency markets and move the private sector forward rather than most of the program driven by public sector in most developing countries. So with this, I just stop here. Thank you very much. If you have any question, I'm happy to respond to them.
Great. Thank you. We do have time, a few minutes. I have, of course, some, but people who are attending the webinar, if you have some questions, just unmute yourself and ask the question. And if there's nobody stepping up, one of the big things we've had since the beginning of our webinars and our conferences is ESCOs and their role. And as you said, they're key stakeholders, they're key players. And they've been building, increasing the number. My early work was with ESCOs and the Japanese ESCO industry, and now with Alex Abliza in the Philippines and India. I wonder if you could tell me a little bit more about the ESCO industry, since they will play a fundamental role, as you've described in both your presentations. Are these local ESCOs, for example, in India, or are they ESCOs international, work globally, or they are coming from one country? If you could give us more. And then when we say India, is it all of India or just certain areas in India where their ESCOs are active? So I'll start with you, Sanjay.
Okay, thanks. The energy efficiency market de-risking is, not focused only on India. It is, the global program that is emerging. In India, if you talk about ESCOs, this market started growing a couple of years back. A lot of programs were done by USAID and other donors, especially in the World Bank funding in India. But market transformed after the birth of Energy Efficiency Insurance Services Limited, EESL, one of the super ESCO that was created in India to handle large government programs. And they did some successful programs like Ujala and other, as Abhishek mentioned. And that has given a lot of insights and learning to other ESCOs and also to the financing institutions and international agencies. How ESCOs can perform if they are supported well, if their capacity is built, and what is the role of technologies. So this is how we also design our program. One vertical is about technologies, which is the key that ESCO can provide to save energy with MSMEs or any other stakeholders. And the second is how to de-risk the market so that the finance is available for taking care of the program. So it is growing, and I'm very, very sure for other developing countries as well. Like in Philippines, we also designed the same program. Indonesia, we designed the same program. Market is transforming. The people are understanding the value of ESCOs, and that is what is the future. Because unless it is shifted to the private sector, things cannot be transformed to that level which most countries look forward to.
Good. Abhishek, one question to you, and then we'll finish the question and hand it over to Nazir.
Yes.
At the end, I'm glad to see the multiple benefits side. And in the US, in Europe, we've sort of the focus was duly on energy savings, energy costs. How about multiple benefits? How, in the regions you're working with, are people receptive to the idea that we should look at multiple benefits and somehow the projects can be awarded because of the multiple benefits? I'd like to hear your ideas on that.
Yeah, a very good question. So the generally the users are receptive. However, it varies from a small enterprise to a large enterprise. And this is where, if you look at their acceptance or their priorities which change. So at a MSME level, the priority is more in terms of how they can maximize their revenue and reduce the cost. Maybe productivity improvement or some indirect benefit is not their priority. While at the same time, when you look at a large enterprise, there are so many big conglomerates in India who are also doing exports, who are also working globally. They are very much aware about what's going on. They have to comply with the carbon trading scheme. They have to comply with the CBAM, Europe CBAM. So they know or they want that they have to adopt or move towards a energy efficient economy, move towards their net zero targets. So for that, energy efficiency is the first fuel, first lever. While MSMEs, it is slightly different, and MSMEs purchasing power is lower as compared to a large industry. Hence, so many programs within India are focusing more on MSMEs. For the large industry, we have a very good scheme which was running since last few years, which is a perform achieve trade, where the uh, carbon credits are being generated by the large designated consumer who's achieving the targets given by the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and those who are not achieving it are buying those credits. So I think benefits are there. Everyone realizes it's just that the priority is different.
Good. I will prolong one the webinar because we did get a question about which off-the-shelf energy efficiency technologies yield the shortest payback periods and say in tropical high humidity climates. I'll either of you, if you want to respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, Abhishek, with your
I mean, in
experience in
terms of industry or
food processing
I
in
mean,
particular.
the question was related to industry or a household or a building. What?
Um, it's just looking at food processing, cold chain logistics, hospitality, and light manufacturing, those sectors, which energy efficiency technologies yield the shortest payback period in tropical high humidity climates. Do you want to take that, Abhishek?
Yeah, I think motor is one very obvious choice. Generally, the paybacks are within 2 years, 2.5 years. And once you look at not only replacing the motor, but also the driven equipment, then in fact, the savings are much higher. By replacing a motor, you are just looking at max 10% of savings. While if you replace the entire motor and pump or a motor and compressor or the motor and blower, then this increments to close to 20-30%. So I think this is where the now the entire focus is not only on motors, it is on motor driven system, and
Right.
hence the entire system efficiency can be improved.
Right.
So
Good.
it doesn't matter whether it is tropical or whether it is a cold country.
Okay. Thank you. Now I will hand it over since we're at the hour to Nazir and with his concluding thoughts.
Thank you, Ed. Thanks a lot. Thanks to both Sanjay and Abhishek for the very insightful presentations. I learned a lot, and I hope our participants have learned a lot as well. As I shared in the beginning, we will be sharing the slides, discussion notes, and recording of the webinar with all the registrants through our website,
Sure.
YouTube channel, and also in LinkedIn, which I have posted all the link in the chat box. Request to all of you, if you have time to fill the quick feedback form, we'll be happy to get your feedback, suggestions. With that, I will call it a day. Thank you everyone for joining us and hope to see you again maybe next month or in our upcoming conference. Thanks a lot.
Great. Yeah. Thank you to
Thank
both.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.